Up on YouTube. All right, now you're officially live. All right. Hello, this is Keith Shovlin, publisher and chief creative of aois21 Publishing, here for the Ask aois21 on the 21st, our monthly Q&A to give self-publishers, would-be writers, editors, and marketers, anyone with questions about books, their opportunity to ask questions directly from an independent publisher. That's me, Keith F. Shovlin. I'm the publisher and chief creative owner-operator of aois21 Publishing based out of Mount Vernon, Virginia. Broadcasting tonight from my home in Morton, Virginia. Thank you for joining me. How y'all doing tonight? It's October 21st. We are 10 days to Halloween. Just over 2 weeks till election day. Hard to guess which one's scarier. Then, a few 2 months till Christmas. So, time is really moving along here. So, if this is your first time joining us, what I like to do is we have the ability on Periscope and on YouTube for people to send in their questions directly. We have, let's see, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I share this on the aois21 Facebook page and on my personal Facebook page too, because that seems to get attention. And of course, the Periscope has been shared on our Twitter account, as I believe the YouTube has as well. And everything is going really slow right now. All right, so all right, that's shared. And that's on my personal page too. Okay, so it's the end of October. We're getting into the holiday season. I mean, obviously, we already had Columbus Day, but that's not really a holiday people celebrate. But we've got Thanksgiving coming up, family togetherness. Then we've got Christmas after that. And of course, the other, not just Christmas, the other religious holidays of Kwanzaa. Well, Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday, but Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and I believe Ramadan came earlier this year. So I'm not particularly sure myself. I apologize on that. So, but the holiday season for Christians and uh, Christians and Jews and those who celebrate Kwanzaa is still coming up. So there's plenty of opportunities to start thinking about gifts. Now, you could do what a lot of people do, which is buy books, which I'm not against. If there's a story out there that speaks to you that you think a family member will enjoy, or if your wish list on Amazon is chock full of books of a different nature, that's great as well. But there's also some other things you can do, like write something yourself. Or let's say you've written stuff before, but you haven't published it or done anything with it. Those make excellent gifts. A few years ago, I've done a lot of genealogical research for my family. So a few years ago, my wife and I decided on that was our Christmas gift to our family. I basically spit out the same genealogical information for each one of my family members and each one of hers. So that was to my brothers and my parents and a grandparent, and to on my wife's side, her parents and her grandparents. And they each got their own book with their family history information that I had from my research, and that was a combination of a register report, a fan chart, and just some various other information. But we then had those specifically bound, and those became our Christmas presents. So now that you're getting into the holiday season, you're thinking about presents. If you are a writer, a poet, a photographer, or any sort of creator, being able to share your work in that form may be an excellent way to knock somebody off the Christmas list. Be able to go, oh, I can, or knock several people off if you can go. Okay. But that's a way to I mean, if you're having trouble, if you're one of those people that has trouble shopping for Christmas or shopping for individuals, and you want a gift that's good for several people, well, if they truly like you and or family members or otherwise, then there's an idea. I'm sorry, my primary languages are English and French. So, but so to think about that, I mean, if you're a poet and say you've never published before, you only have a couple works of poetry, putting that together in a nice collection, whether it be, well, you could do electronic with audio recordings and video, or you could do an actual printed book. All are possibilities. And there's a bunch of great organizations out there you can work with. And I've worked in the past, I've worked with Shutterfly, which can put together photography books. I've worked with Lulu, which can put together print books, whether they be text or photograph. And then, of course, just creating electronic documents like videos or sound bites or audios. That's all things do. Particularly if you are a poet, recording you reading your own poetry, then even though they're going out of style, burning it on a CD, there's an excellent Christmas gift. You're sharing your creativity, and it's something far more than anything you can buy at Walmart or JCPenney. It's something you've created from your heart, from your soul. You just then printed it on a 10-cent CD, and maybe you wrote on it real quick with a Sharpie. But still, the creative things that are on that disc, it's far more precious than anything you can buy in a store. So that's just an idea I'm throwing out there. Now that's October, of course, it's a bit early, but it was something I wanted to share as we're getting into the holiday season. So now let's just take a quick moment here. Of course, we are broadcasting live, but one thing I tend to do is, of course, you can ask me any question you like, either on Periscope, on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, you can go ahead and comment on us there. And basically anything you want to ask. On Twitter, you could tweet directly to aois21 at aois21, or use the hashtag aois21, and I'll be able to see it. So just checking over to Twitter. Wow, 4 new followers today. You're doing well. Let's see. Hashtag ask aois21. And just a quick search probably will bring up mainly the things that when I shared previous episodes or even one today. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're broadcasting on Periscope, we're broadcasting on YouTube. Yet to try Facebook Live for the main purpose of, for some reason, they won't let you Facebook Live as a page. I mean, as you can only Facebook Live as yourself. And if anyone else has had success using Facebook Live for a company page, feel free to let me know how that works. But so far, yeah, because I'm on the aois21 Facebook page right now. And as far as video, the only options it gives me is uploading a video. A bunch of options for pictures, but not only uploading a video. So, yeah, there's no Facebook Live option on our Facebook page. It's really odd. You would think. Let's see. Start it up right here. You would think that there would be some mechanism for you to be able to do Facebook Live, not just as a person. Yeah, because I go to my personal page, And if I, oh, it only says video album or upload photos. I'm not even seeing where you can Facebook Live on regular Facebook. Is it only through the app? Yeah, I'm only seeing it there. Well, that seems to be a tremendous. Oh, wait, live video. Hello, how you doing? All right, so I can watch people doing live videos, but I'm not seeing any ability to live video from my computer. It seems to be a major drawback on Facebook Live. Okay, so now, as I said, I'm here to answer any questions you have about books. If you're writing or you're in the editing process, you want to market. I've written 3 books myself personally. I wrote a novel called Polk Soliloquy it's a coming of age novel about life after college in DC, contemporary DC. Second book is Life's Penance, a novella. Books aren't relevant, man. Yeah, they're incredibly relevant. I work at the largest library in the world during my regular day, and then at night I run a publishing company. We now have 13 authors signed. We have close to 20 books out, and I go to book fairs every few weeks. You know what? Books are a record because of the fact people write their stories in it. Now, but that doesn't mean books aren't still being created, because now books are being created as ebooks, and they're also being done as audiobooks. Audiobooks are becoming the largest way people read books today. I know I personally read and listen to an audiobook at least one a week, at least for the past few months. The brainwash standard? No, books aren't the brainwash standard. Or television is. I mean, really, to be honest about that. If you think it really isn't necessary, then you're fooling yourself. Books are the collection of stories, it's a collection of knowledge and information out there in the world. And it's important that people keep reading, because as you read, you learn about new things. You learn about new experiences. You learn about what other people have gone through, their stories. And those stories are so important, especially, I mean, obviously, you have to have a good story if you're willing to put in the time to put it down and write the story. As if it's not a good story, then either you're not going to spend a lot of time writing it, or it's just not going to be worth the paper it's printed on. I mean, you have to feel the energy, the real push to put that story down. I mean, even even those books that some people say are awful, that stories aren't that great, it's still a worthwhile story. I mean, there are a lot of great books out there. I I'm on, I think, my 16th book I've read this year, and it's amazing some of the new things I'm finding out from some of these stories. I just read this past week, well, actually, audiobook, so I listened to The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov. It's a book I had never heard of before. I knew about the Foundation series, I knew about I, Robot. I didn't know about uh, End of Eternity, and it kind of falls between that group. It was written in 1955. And it was a fantastic book. I kind of read it on a lark. I was trying to find, and I kind of got on a kick of reading a lot of dystopian books. I had just gotten through World War Z and Clockwork Orange, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, and was moving on, and then just getting into different sci-fi writers. And I decided Isaac Asimov, and was able to get End of Eternity as an audiobook and listen to it, and it was fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. So now since then I've switched up and done some more. Just finished Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and now I'm decided to go something more intellectual, more historic, and that's The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbon, Volume 1. Just started that today. I'm about an hour into it, which is only about 6%. So it just shows you how long of a audiobook that is. So So now, remember any questions you have. Obviously, had someone come on to tell me that books aren't great, and then disappears before he can hear my good answer. So any questions you have, send to me on Periscope, send to me on YouTube, tweet to me with the hashtag AskAois21. That's AOIS21. That sounds silly to you, because that's the name of our company. It's a Gaelic word. It means age or century. Because we are a publishing company for the 21st century. We focus on e-publishing mainly. We've helped a lot of authors who started out in print only get into the electronic market. We had a couple that were in the electronic market, but only like they had a toe in. They weren't fully in. And they worked with CreateSpace through Amazon to print their books and then output an electronic file. But they were only on Amazon. They weren't on iBooks. They weren't on Smashwords. They weren't on Barnes and Noble. So we were able to work with them and get into that whole field. So as part of being a publishing company for the 21st century, that means we're trying to use every avenue that the 21st century has shown us so far. So we heavily use the internet and heavily use social media. So this webcast tonight broadcasts live on Periscope and on YouTube. And if I could, I would broadcast on Facebook Live too, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So that's just the way it is. Work on that, Zuckerberg. Come on. So the book I'm reading right now, like I said, I just finished End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov, followed by Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Before that, I did audiobooks of a couple of Michael Chabon books. Started with his memoir, Manhood for Amateurs, which was, I didn't know what I was getting into with it because I know he's a great fiction writer, and I've seen Wonder Boys and Mysteries of Pittsburgh, so I wanted to do audiobooks of one of those, but I couldn't find them on the library server that I was working with. So I went for Manhood for Amateurs because it sounded interesting, not realizing it was his personal memoir. But it really captured me, not only in his ability to tell a story, but his own personal story, and the fact that there's a lot of crossover between me and Michael Chabon. While he was born and grew up in the DC area, I was born in Pittsburgh and grew up there. When his parents divorced, his father moved to Pittsburgh, so he started sending summaries up there. And then, of course, he went to Carnegie Mellon. So he got a really good dose of Pittsburgh lifestyle growing up. And, of course, I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, lived there until I was 21 years old. Then moved down here to D.C., and I've been here for the past 13 years. So, actually, I just hit 14 years as of this August. So, in fact, it was the August 21st, AskAois21 the 21st. I talked about that experience of coming down here and how our experiences help guide our stories. So I found a certain kinship with Michael Chabon, although we don't exactly match up entirely. My parents are still happily married. His have been divorced. He has had marriages that unfortunately didn't work out. I've been happily married for the past 8 years. He is a very successful writer. I'm a writer, and he's Jewish. I'm agnostic, not Catholic, agnostic Christian. So there's a lot of differences, but he still captured me with how he tells the story. It really got me. So I went to a couple of his books, Manhood for Amateurs, followed by Gentlemen of the Road, which was rather short, actually. It was more of a novella than a novel. And as he called it, the actual title in developing was Jews with Swords. So that was interesting because it was a medieval era adventure, which is out of the ordinary for him. He usually writes contemporary stuff, or at least stuff that is of a time in which he lived. So one of these days I'll get to Wonder Boys, I'll get to Mysteries of Pittsburgh. I put almost all of his books on my reading list to get to someday. And he's now an author I follow on Goodreads, so hopefully I'll be keeping up more with him. So checking once again to the Twitter. which is thankfully up and running again today after the denial of service hack attack that happened earlier today. All right, no questions on the Twitter, and we've had people come and go on Periscope, and aside from the one gentleman that seemed to have a problem with books, no questions coming in. Sorry. It hasn't even been that long of a day. I guess I'm just tired. So, all right, it is 8:52, so we're almost through the full half an hour here. Usually we do a half an hour. This is the first anniversary of this webcast. We officially launched it in October of last year. Or no, first one? No, second. Second. It was 2 years ago. So it's the second anniversary of this webcast. We launched it 2 years ago after I attended a conference in Portland, Maine, called the Agents of Change Conference. It was all about digital marketing, search, social, and mobile marketing. And one of the ideas that was put out there was I think it was the keynote speaker was talking about how he started his own Q&A because he kept on getting questions all the time from people. So he decided to make it a podcast. Now, he was getting enough questions that he started a daily podcast. Obviously, that's not how what we're doing. We're doing a monthly webcast. I get questions. Mainly I get questions when we go out to book fairs. Not so much through email or on Twitter or Facebook. So I figured to give this opportunity to reach out to the audience. So we've been doing this for 2 years now. I think we missed 1 month when we couldn't do it because of technical difficulty. Yeah, there was a storm that came through and knocked out power in my house on a Saturday, and it was the Saturday the 21st. So we tried to keep this up every month. We used to do it at 9 o'clock, but we moved it up to 8:30. It's because it ties into a webinar that we do beforehand called the ePress21 webinar, Are You Ready to Self-Publish? Where we work with authors will come in and we'll try to talk them through the process of doing self-publishing. So that's why this moved up to 8:30. Before it was at 9 o'clock, which kind of worked out because 9 o'clock is 2,100 hours. 2,100 hours on the 21st of each month. That seemed to make sense. But so yeah, send in any questions you have, and I'll see what I can do to answer them. We had a little bit of news. Well, for us, big news to announce this week. We signed our 13th author, Mr. Thomas P. Atheridge. Tom has written a scholarly work, a nonfiction historical book called American Presidents at War. And he spent, overall, it's been a 15-year adventure for him. He spent 7 or 8 years writing the book, and then he completed it in 2009, and has spent the past 7 years trying to find a publisher. Now, I started talking to him about it about 2 years ago, about him coming to work with us at aois21, and it just didn't match up right. We never could find the time to really work it out to get him to come on board with us. And now we finally did. Very happy that happened. So Tom has now, as of this week, he is signed with us. We will be releasing his book, and we're going to go ahead from the beginning. We're going to start with obviously we're doing ebook at first, but then we'll be doing print copies, and we'll probably be working with Lulu.com because we've had a lot of experience working with Lulu. And Lulu will allow us to do both paperback and hardcover. Yo, how you doing? Now, his being scholarly work, it probably will be more textbook size because it's actually quite long. It's over 100,000 words. So what Tom did was he was an employee of the Library of Congress, a cataloger there, and he was at the library at work on September 11th. And the day affected him as it did a lot of federal employees because they were essentially in the crosshairs, as it were. And he decided to look back. He saw what was happening in the immediate aftermath with President Bush and decided to look back at how other presidents have dealt with wars and just military conflict. So he went back through our country's history and analyzed how the presidents have responded with military in various situations. So that book took him 7 or 8 years to write. He did a tremendous amount of research at the Library of Congress and National Archives. He did interviews with people who were involved in military conflicts or in uh, executive departments that would have some insight, people who had studied some of these conflicts themselves. And then he put this all together in his book, which in its pure form is this weighty tome here, American Presidents at War, American Presidents in Times of War. And now we're going to work to digitize it, to clean it up. We're going to have our editing staff look through it. And we're going to have this out, hopefully, in the new year, as close to January 20th as we can get it. I can't say specifically when it's going to be out because it takes time to get it through the editing process. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you for inviting followers. That's very nice of you. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us here. Now, because of the fact he gave it to us in a print file, he has some of it electronic, but not all of it. We got to go through a lengthier process than we would if it was just an electronic file. Because what we have to do is, obviously, we're not going to hand type this stuff, but what we can do is we're going to scan it in. We're scanning it in page by page with our scanner, and each page will be an individual file. Most likely a PDF is the easiest way to store it. And then we'll run the PDFs through Object Character Recognition, or OCR. And those will output text files with the text of each page. Then we can take that text, compare it to what we have on the page, and then drop it all into what will end up being one very large Microsoft Word file. So that's the process we have ahead of us. And once we have that Word document complete, and we know that the text lines up from the OCR, because OCR isn't perfect. These pages are perfectly typed, so it shouldn't be a problem. No, I'm not a teacher. I'm a writer and a publisher. Although I have done some teaching before, but not professionally. So we will be working with him first we'll digitize it, then we'll put it through the editing process. And once our editors are done reviewing it, then we will work to make this book real and end this 15-year odyssey that Tom has been on, trying to get this book written and then getting it finished. So we are happy to work with Tom. We are so gracious. Not gracious. We are so grateful. He is gracious. We are so grateful that he has chosen to work with us. And we look forward to what we can do with the book. Already, I saw that he shared the announcement of his signing on his Facebook page, and that sent a bevy of people to our website. It made, ever since the announcement, his new author page on the aois21 website has become the most popular page on our site. And we've gotten way over our normal amount of hits for midweek. We had a lot of hits a couple weeks back because we were doing an ad campaign on LinkedIn, but this is fantastic, the amount of attention we're getting, and specifically he's getting, because they're mainly going to his page or to our news page with the announcement. No, I've never been on Naked and Afraid. Sorry. So that's just, it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. Obviously, he has a pretty good group with him. Okay. Well, we're always looking for editors, designers, people that want to do audio, and we have some openings listed on our website. So if you have any experience with editing, you can reach out, and then our editor-in-chief will get in contact with you. He has a small test that he puts all the editors through. Website is aois21.com, aois21.com. And if you just go on, once you go to that page, go to About Us, and in the middle of that list, yep, that's the one. Middle of that list is openings, And then you'll see our openings for, just click on it myself so I can look it over, make sure everything's there. We've got a couple management team members that we're trying to fill, a chief of audio design and outreach coordinator. But then we're looking for editorial consultants and design consultants. So anyone that has any sort of background in editing, we when we do the editing, I mean, there's the three main ways of doing editing. There's just your basic copy editing, where you're watching from basic grammar, punctuation, capitalization, spelling. Then there's line editing, where you're getting more sentence structure and making sure that ideas flow well in paragraph structure. Then there's developmental editing, where you really get into the weeds of really doing a deep dive into the story and making sure that all comes through. aois21, our self-publishing arm, just finished working on a novel with a developmental editing, and we were very happy we were able to help with that. And that was a tremendous opportunity, and we were glad that we were able to work on that. We had a couple other opportunities come up. Unfortunately, some we weren't able to follow through on. We are a small company. We're mostly a part-time company. Everybody that works for us is a part-time employee. As I said earlier, I work full-time for the Library of Congress, and then I do aois21 when I'm home. And this has been sort of my passion project ever since 2013. And it started because I was an author, self-published author myself, and knew that there was a better way to do what I was doing. And what I learned was enough that I was able to bring on other authors. And we're at 13 authors now, close to 20 books available. And we are open genre, and we have put out a wide variety of books, different types of poetry. We have a political thriller. We have a erotic fiction. We have a memoir. It's a memoir of sexual activity, but it's definitely an interesting read. We now have 2 science fiction books. We have a fantasy book, and we're about to come out with a fantasy epic, The Will of the Magi. In fact, our podcast series, Publish Me, is followed along in the process, meeting with the author, and he's been doing the writing, and he's completed the writing process recently. So we're now in the early stages of doing the editing and review for that book. So it's been a tremendous opportunity, and I've been very grateful for everyone who has come forward and worked with us. So if you're interested, check out aois21.com/openings, see what we offer, and see if you're a good fit. All right, it is 9 o'clock. It is 2100 hours on the 21st of October, so it is time to bring this to a close. So thank you for those who are watching. Thank you for those who had questions. Thank you for those who added something. Even if it was questionable, you're thinking on something. But thank you very much. Have a great weekend. It is Friday the 21st, so have a great weekend and a great holiday season. All right. For aois21 Publishing, I am Keith F. Shelton, Publisher and Chief Creative. This has been Ask aois21 on the 21st. Before I let you go, PS on this, postscript on this. Coming up on November 5th, we have the DC Author Festival at the MLK Memorial Library in downtown Washington, D.C. We will be there all day with poet Bianca Palmisano. She's a D.C. resident, and she will be not only be there exhibiting for her, but she will also be speaking on stage 3 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It might actually be 3:30. So come on out if you're in the D.C. area, or if you're going to be in the D.C. area that weekend before the election. It might be a pretty crazy weekend to be in town. I know Congress won't be here. But stop on down to the main branch of the D.C. Public Library. That's the MLK Memorial Library, right near the Gallery Place Chinatown Metro Station. It's a block from the Verizon Center. And we'll be there throughout Saturday, November 5th for that event. And other than that, catch us on aois21.com, any of our podcast series at media.aois21.com, and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/aois21pub. Thank you very much. Have a great night.